And like, controversial opinion, that might get me some hate, but I think the reason why it wasn't like this for like, 2015 and below was because the players weren't that good. They just weren't.
I think probably everyone watching this knows you pretty well. But I think before we get into, I want to talk about you coming back and your break and everything, probably like some questions that people have. But before that, maybe give a bit of context about how you got into Catan and all that. So my first question is, what got you into Catan? How did you get into it?
Yeah, I mean, I got into Catan just through like just a friend, and I'm a pretty competitive person, so I think I lost the game. That time I was like, oh no, I don't lose games, and then I became like an obsessed. I became so hyper obsessed about it, and like I watched like every single Catan YouTube video that was even in existence at the time. There's only one guy, his name was Neonate. I watched like every one of his videos like 3 to 5 times. It's like not even a joke. I was like so ultra obsessed.
That was all after your first game?
Not my first. It was my first like 5 or 10 games.
Okay.
This is something that like I want to do really good at. And then like I got to a point where I'm like, hey, I think he's starting to make mistakes. Like I'm starting to see more mistakes in his gameplay. I'm like, I think I can add my own spin to this. I think I can add my own value to this. And I think I'm also on his level, if not slightly better. So it's almost like an ego play. But yeah, like he's by far, like when I first started, he's by far my biggest like inspiration. Back then I was like a young 18-year-old kid. He's like a 40-year-old guy with like kids. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was worshiping him. Like Catan is my life, bro. Like you're my idol. And he's like,
what do you think got you so into it right away? Did you like strategy games before that, or what hooked you so quick?
I was really competitive. Before that, I played Smash Bros. Competitively. The problem with that was like I could outthink my opponents, but you just gotta like press buttons super quickly. I didn't practice enough by button clicking, and I knew I could outthink them though. And when I just got to Catan, it's like the perfect blend of like strategy, perfect blend of like it's like decision making strategy, like social presence.
Yeah,
and also it's a 4-player competitive game. That's unique. Like that's if you think about it in the world of competitive games, there's literally nothing that ever exists at it. And if you think about it, like the moment you walk up to the table, that's when it begins. Every word you say matters. Every decision you make matters.
That's like
yeah. And so like when people think like Catan is like there's no strategy, I'm like, shut up. You just don't know. You just don't.
Oh no, I know. Social aspect of it is like for me is the most addictive part. Like
yep.
Even over chat, like every little thing that you say is like has some influence in the game. That just makes it so addictive. Yeah, that's fun to hear from you. Oh, when did you start getting into your first like tournaments?
As soon as I was like 18, like I was always eyeing it. Like I was eyeing it actually whenever I was 17. Like I was one of the youngest players, if not, I think like one of the youngest to make it to USA Nationals. USA Nationals is like a bunch of like older folks, a lot of like older Catan regulars and stuff. Like I had to do some major like reality betting just to get there. And so we're at no tournaments in Texas except for one. So like I had to email like I emailed like every single board game store and all like the entire DFW like Metroplex, like asking them like, can you please host a Catan tournament, please? And like here are all the reasons why it benefits you, and here's how you can reach out to them and set it up yourself. And then it actually happened. Like 3 to 4 different tournaments popped up, and I won one. And that's how I made it to USA Nationals. When previously there's no other tournaments literally in the city. And I'm like too broke to go and fly out. So I'm like, if it's up to me, it's up to me. Let's make shit happen.
You're like the most proactive person ever. Like who?
Yeah, I mean,
played tournaments and asked for people to organize and not even try to find existing ones. That's so funny. Yeah. So what do you think are the sort of milestones, the key points from like, now you told us how you started and maybe your first tournaments or so, but like from that to creating your channel or like recently, what are the key milestones you think?
So the first milestone is just like creating from passion. I think like some of the oldest videos, like those are still like some of my favorite. And I think the audience can tell some of the most information, like even if I go back and watch it, like that information is really good. Those videos, you can tell there's a lot of like love and passion and like poured into it. And that's when I really like, there's no money on the line. There's no nothing on the line. I just like did it because I loved it. I'm like I love this so much. And then basically COVID hit, and essentially I like took a gap year from college, and I told myself during this year I'm gonna go all in Catan, like no backdoors. And suddenly it shifted from like, okay, like it made it so like I have to focus on a creator. I'm like, I have no clue what the fuck I'm doing. I've never hired someone before. I've got to pay rent. I'm living by myself for the first time. Also, like my main income source is Catan videos. Like now it's like, there's still passion behind it and I still love it, but it's like, dude, you got to eat. And it just changed the entire trajectory of like passion versus like purpose. And yeah, I mean, I was just like adapting. Like I have no clue what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I've never done this before, and so it was just a lot of like making mistakes, a lot of learnings, a lot of like just figuring it out.
But even before that, I guess I was kind of like, you said a bit of that. Like, you saw this other creator, but so you saw him, and then immediately, as soon as you got into Catan, you wanted to create videos, or did it take a while?
No, I think the more I watched his videos, the more like obsessed I became, and the more I started winning against my friends, which like the more obsessed I became, and it was like a going crazy about Catan spiral. It's like, okay, like I studied more Catan than I did like schoolwork. Like that's like it's like a fact.
But so how long was it from starting to go down the rabbit hole to creating content?
How long was it? I'd say it was around like maybe like 5 or 6 months, maybe. I mean, yeah, it's like maybe 5 or 6 months of like watching it and like let's bite the bullet.
Interesting. What? Yeah. But you hadn't created content in the past, or had you?
No, but I watched like I've never created content in the past, but I like would always video edit for school projects. But I was always obsessed about like YouTube, and I think the more I think about it, if it wasn't for Catan, I still would be attached to YouTube in some way. Maybe through some other like medium or some game or something, but I would have been attached to YouTube somehow. It's just
So you think you have an intrinsic drive for content?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I love content. Like yeah. I mean, I've just seen it change so many lives, so like so many times. Like it's like changed like my friends' lives, has changed everyone's lives around me. It's like you're building relationships at scale. Like the creator economy is only going to grow more and more and more. If this is like the next billion, like yeah, this is like the next $1 billion industry that people don't really know about yet. I mean, people are starting to pick up on like on the trend, and like that's why, like, I mean, I'm just really passionate about this.
So, since you're so competitive, I'm curious what your answer to this would be. When do you think was your peak in skill? Do you think it's now? If it passed, or
my peak in skill? That's a good question, man. I'd say I think last year at USA Nationals was like one of the top ones. Yeah. Like, I think I'm always learning and growing, but peak in skill is last year at USA Nationals. I mean, I made it to like what 6th place without any practice. That's pretty good. And I think if I like spent like 3 months practicing, I think I could have won the entire thing. There's like 3 months of like, lock myself into a cave, and all I did was obsess about Catan. Like, I really think so.
Do you have a yearning for that at some point? To
do I have a yearning? I want to win U.S. Nationals. I mean, yeah, I do. But I definitely do, yes. But also, I have a little bit of fears if I win that, because it's like suddenly I'm like viewed a little bit more as a guru. And it's like, dude, I'm just a dude.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, of course I want to win that. But I think I was reflecting like last week, but I think what I really, really want, like my vision for Catan, is for it to be like a staple household name as big as chess and poker. I mean, you see like there's so many like chess and poker creators. There's a huge healthy ecosystem for that, but there's not that for Catan. Why not? Yeah. Why not? And it's about to come. Like, I think I still half-ass like so much of my content. Like there's no reason why I'm the biggest creator. Like, I'm so lazy. I'm on, off. Like, the content's half-assed. It's like, why am I the biggest creator? This is so easy to take. If everyone just actually applied themselves, like, they'd get to the top. And I'm still like half-assing it. I'm starting again and like to get to a level where I half-ass it less and less. But yeah, like right now, it just requires me just to, one, to put myself out there, not care about perfection, and develop more love for the game.
Obviously, you want to win the championship, but is there any desire of like, if this happened, like, yeah, I'd train for 3 months and see what happens? If
you gave me $10 million right now, I would probably not quit the other, like my current business. Like, I'd take a much lesser role, and then I'd be like, yeah, I'm going all in a Catan. I would lock myself into the room, but also would want to document that process of me locking into the room and going hard for the U.S. championships. But something I like wanting to, I'm learning is I like to do Catan like out of service, which sounds weird. Like, how do I help the community? To me, it's like just bridging the game out as much as possible, teaching people the game, just getting people to fall in love with the game, and while also learning how to fall in love with it again. It's like that, toxic X, you just keep getting back with over and over again.
Right. I was actually going to ask you what you think makes your channel different or pop out, but I guess your answer that you've given is that there's no one's trying hard enough.
Yeah, what makes my channel different? As the first, like one of the first creators, I also think that I'm also like a pretty competent player. I mean, the truth is like to be like a good content creator, you have to understand the game well, right? It's like, because that's, people naturally like, gravitate to people who are good. And I also think it's like a little bit of personality, but I don't know. It's like, that's like nice. People say like they like to think I'm the Gotham chess of Catan, which I'm flattered by. I guess, yeah, I guess I am like
that in your latest video, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like I guess that's a good thing. People tell me I'm charismatic, but I don't always believe it. But yeah, I guess there are times where I can like inspire the passion, and yeah, I don't think I'm the best player in the world. I mean, I think I know that like there's players who are better than me, but also just don't think like there's very many other creators to choose. So
Fair. This is a completely sidetrack, but I'm kind of curious. Are you a fan of any expansion, or are you just a base guy?
I'm just a base guy. Like, man,
Yeah.
I think there's so much beauty just in the base game, and also I like 1v1s. But like that's more like trash dopamine. I'm very very big of a fan of like foreplay. I think it's so deep, and it's hyper unexplored, and because it's so like it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Like you think you're good at the game until you play a guy who's better than you, and then he actually tells you his thought process, and you realize, oh, I'm bad at the game.
Wow.
And there's like levels and levels and levels. Like
That-
even for me, and I know like exactly where I'm at. I know I'm better than like 99% of players, but it's the 1% where it gets like really really competitive.
No, that's so true. I was speaking with Raymond.
Yeah,
And he was breaking down a game of his, and every single decision he could just talk like so many layers about, and there's so many strategies, like even stuff like just like patting his hand, like he's always thinking about patting his hand, or like he would use replays to like look at other people's games before the game to like know how they play, or
Yep.
like playing his, like if he has a clear decision on like a settlement pick, he plays super quick so that they don't have like that much time to think. Just like a bunch of stuff that your average player would never ever think about.
Yep.
And
It's
way more complex stuff too. But like, it's funny because like, since I think it's the fact that it has the luck element is a bit deceiving.
Yep.
It makes it feel like it's always just luck, but there's just so many levels to it.
Yeah, it's no coincidence that the best players in the world are able to get to finals or just win tournaments consistently. It's just like there's no coincidence. It's like these guys do consistently because they're the best in the game. And like controversial opinion, that might get me some hate, but I think the reason why it wasn't like this for like 2015 and below was because like, the players weren't that good. Like they just weren't. But like after we saw on like Catan take off, like the YouTube channel, like everyone's getting so much better at the game at such a fast rate. Like the players who won, like, the people who won like USA Nationals, like, in like 2000, 2015, like, in my opinion, if they haven't practiced, like, if you put them, their skill level there in today's tournaments, like climate, they get thrashed because people are always getting better and better and better and better and better. So it's like, yeah, and also like these public strategies of like typical standard and how the Catan strategy meta has been like developed at an exponential rate. And like people don't like get that just yet. And it's like a huge renaissance in terms of strategy. Since previously people just weren't that good, like they just weren't, and it's like how like poker got so much harder after like 2010 or so. Same thing with Catan, but it's like these days it's hard. Like people are good, and like you're gonna get like if you think you're good, you show up to a tournament like, with like other good players, you're most likely gonna get thrashed. But there's still the bar is still relatively low. Like one day, I envision like the tournaments, I show up to them, and we're just getting thrashed every single time. And that's it.
That's such a poetic vision. I love it.
Yeah, like I'd love for that. It's like my viewers are all better than me. Although, like, I actually no, I do want to be better than them. But like, like there's like the tier of players. I'm like, yeah, these guys are good. I created that, and it's like I get thrashed by my own my own people. But it's like I created that.
Yeah. But I see that. I think there's still so much potential for people to get deeper into the game and for it to be, like for it to be a household name. But I mean, I think it's not too far from being a household name, but I think, the next level of like having a lot of people who are interested in strategy.
Yeah. Like if you think about Catan, it's a weird game because like if you think about chess and poker, they're wide-reaching games and they also have deep communities that revolve around strategy. Now, if you think about Catan, like it's a wide-reaching game, but the community around strategy is actually very thin and it's just starting to grow. And so that's what I want to do. Since it's a wide-reaching game with like millions and millions of players, like you can go to a college campus and it's like, yo, do you know this board game? A fuck ton of people would say, yes, I do. But like if you ask about Catan strategy, like they suck balls at it. So like the community for like Catan strategy is very thin, and that is what gets it to be developed.
Yeah, no, 100% right on. That's exactly how it is. You can give us a bit of tea about your absence and return, a bit of a gossip.
Yeah, right now I'm just like getting things started. I don't want to set the bar high or anything like that. Just posting, getting better, and improving over time, and being consistent. I think the biggest thing was an obsession about my image, and like looking good. And that means like to get rid of that, just you post shit content and you practice that enough where you,
Exposure.
it's like exposure therapy where it's like just you get used to just showing up, and from there on out, if you show up consistently, then you can start improving. And so that's what it is for me, is building the systems and structures to getting better and better and better. Like no matter how dumb you look, no matter how bad the videos you are, it's like, because that's what wins at the very end. It's like not like, what posting once a month and having some hyper optimized blah 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 blah. Just no, it's showing up like super consistently, as bad as it is, and just showing up more, and we'll see from there.
Are you excited to be back?
I'm excited to be back. I think so. Yeah, I think so. There's a lot more. There's a lot more I like to be doing. Yeah, I've got like a bunch of ideas that I've always wanted to do. I didn't know exactly how to execute on. But yeah, I'm excited to be back. Yeah, I'm excited to be back. Yeah.